Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed their Saturday of college football as we look forward to all the NFL games coming up today. So today here on the channel, I'm going to be talking about some of the games from yesterday in the world of college football. As always, any thoughts on it, please feel free to let me know. The Georgia game, I said last week, I didn't think it would be close, and it wasn't, but it was actually worse than I thought it would be. Georgia defeats South Carolina by the score of 48-7. And me and my good friend Michael Taylor were talking yesterday. It was sometime in the first quarter of the game between Penn State and Auburn, and he was saying that there just hasn't been a lot of good football games this year. And I told him, no, that's the only downfall of week one having all those good games is that in week two and week three, there's just not a lot of good football games on. Now, starting this upcoming Saturday, the games start getting really good again for the most part. But I told him the other problem with that is, to me, it looks like Georgia is by far the best team in the country right now. It's not close. They may be as good this year as they were last year. But I told him that I think right now Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and Oklahoma and Michigan are the best five teams in the country. So, in my personal opinion, if you watch a game that features one of those five teams, more than likely the game is going to be a blowout because I think those five teams are just head and shoulders above everybody else. And nobody wants to watch a blowout. I started watching the Oklahoma-Nebraska game yesterday, which Oklahoma won the game, by the way, by the score of 49-14. But I started watching that game because I knew Georgia was going to blow out South Carolina, and I wanted to watch a competitive football game. And I thought since Nebraska was making a coaching change that they would hang with Oklahoma. And I said, well, Oklahoma's going to win, but it's going to be competitive, so I'm going to watch it. And Nebraska came out, looked like they were motivated to have a new coach and to start over again, and that lasted about 6 minutes. Once they tied the game 7-7, after that it was all Oklahoma. And nobody wants to watch a blowout. You want to watch competitive football, but in my opinion right now, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Michigan are the best five teams in the country, and it's not close. Those five teams are head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, a lot can change, of course, throughout the season, as always does, but right now, those are the best five teams. Syracuse defeated Purdue by the score of 32-29. And if this wasn't the game of the day yesterday, it was at least the 12 o'clock noon best game, because you see the final score, Syracuse winning 32-29. You think, that was a pretty high scoring game, but it wasn't until the fourth quarter. After three quarters, the score was Syracuse 10, Purdue 9. But Purdue had the 9 because of a missed extra point opportunity, so they were down 10-9 with a touchdown and a field goal, and Purdue scored and went up 15-10. They went for two to try to get that 1 point back and go up 17-10. Well, they didn't get it, so they're up 15-10. Syracuse comes right back and they score, and since Purdue went for two and didn't get it, Syracuse goes for two and they get it. So now it's a field goal game and they're up 18-15. And then the very next play, Purdue throws a pick six and Syracuse goes up 25-15. And then Purdue scores on two straight possessions to go up 29-25. And when they went up 29-25, there was about a minute and 45 seconds to go in the game, and Syracuse came right back down the field and scored with 7 seconds to go to win the game 32-29. So there was 61 points total scored in the game, and 42 of them came in the fourth quarter. Great football game. That's what football is meant to be. And Arkansas defeats Missouri State by the score of 38-27. Now, in most situations and most occurrences, I wouldn't even write that score down, but I did write it down because Missouri State was actually leading that game late in the second half, and I thought, boy, that would be a monumental upset if Missouri State defeats Arkansas, but Arkansas did pull away in the end. Oregon actually looked really, really good, and believe it or not, Bo Nix actually looked really, really good. If you look at Bo Nix's career numbers against ranked opponents, they're awful. It'll make your eyes bleed, but he played really good, and Oregon looked really good yesterday. Wake Forest defeats Liberty by the score of 37-36. There's an old saying that says if it's late in the game and you score and you're down by 1 point, if you're on the road, you go for the win. If you're home, you play for overtime. Well, Liberty lived by that yesterday because they scored and made it 37-36. They went for two, didn't get it. Wake Forest wins 37-36. Penn State was all over Auburn. Final score in that game, 41-12. And I feel bad for Auburn because I've said I don't think they're very good. But TJ Finley, to me, is gone about as far as he can go. And you've seen TJ Finley, and what you see is what you get. But their backup quarterback just flat out can't throw. Now, he can run like crazy, but he can't throw. So if you play him now, you can't throw the ball. But if you don't play him now with TJ Finley, you've gotten what you're going to get. He's not going to get any better. This quarterback is what he is. He's going to give you 17, 20 points a game, and that's it. He's not going to win you any games, but he's not going to lose you any games. He's reached his peak. Indiana defeats Western Kentucky by the score of 33-30. That was another game that I thought, boy, it's going to be an upset, but Indiana did pull it out in the end. And Southern Illinois Salukis defeat Northwestern by the score of 31-24. Northwestern now 1-2 on the season, and that loss makes Nebraska look even worse because we know that Nebraska and Northwestern played in week 0 over in Ireland, and Northwestern beat Nebraska, and they're so bad they lost to Southern Illinois. So that just shows how bad Nebraska actually is. Marcus Freeman finally gets his first win as the head coach of Notre Dame. They were behind in the fourth quarter, 17-14, but they do come back and beat California by the score of 24-17. In the ABC primetime game that at one time was a complete blowout, Michigan State tried to come back and make it somewhat competitive, but the Washington Huskies defeat Michigan State by the score of 39-28. The one thing the Huskies have going for them is Indiana transfer quarterback Michael Penix Jr. He's actually a really good quarterback, but he always has problems staying healthy. As long as he can stay healthy, he'll have a really good season, and I think the Huskies will do better than most people expect. But if you look over the career of Michael Penix and you see all the times he's been injured, history tells you he's going to get hurt again sometime this year. NC State's defense looks really, really good. They defeat Texas Tech by the score of 27-14. And another game that was almost a monumental upset of epic proportions, the Florida Gators defeated South Florida by the score of 31-28. And South Florida was actually leading that game in the fourth quarter, but Florida did come out with the victory. LSU defeated Mississippi State by the score of 31-16. And the 9 o'clock p.m. game, Texas A&M defeats Miami in an ugly football game by the score of 17-9. I thought the Hurricanes would win because of how bad the Aggies' offense is, but the Aggie defense came to play and they looked good. But A&M made a quarterback change on Friday. They announced on Friday that transfer quarterback Max Johnson would start the game against Miami. He started, but his numbers looked about the same as what Haynes King did. I think he was like 10 for 20 for about 120 yards. A&M only had like 265 yards of offense. So even though they changed quarterbacks, they didn't do any better. I don't think the quarterback is the issue. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the quarterback is the issue. But a win is a win. So they won ugly, but they won. That's all that matters. And looking at a few surprise teams this year, we have 5 teams that are sitting at 3-0, and these are teams that you don't always see at 3-0, and that is Syracuse, Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, and Florida State. I know I mentioned in yesterday's video, it's Florida State's first time being 3-0 since, I believe, 2015. I think it's Duke's first time being 3-0 since 2018. And I think it's been 5 or 6 years since Syracuse has been 3-0. And I don't know how long it's been since Kansas has been 3-0, because Kansas normally don't even win 3 games in a season, let alone win the first 3 games of the season. So Lance Leipold is doing tremendous things in a hurry at Kansas. Don't be surprised if his name comes up in the discussions for the next Nebraska job. Not saying he'll take it, but he's turned Kansas around so fast, his name will be brought up, and he may even be contacted. And Duke is in their first year with new head coach Mike Elko, so I don't think anybody expected them to come out with a brand new coach as bad as they were last year and win their first 3 games, but they have. And North Carolina has given up over 35 points a game, but they're 3-0. So 3-0 is all that matters. And I believe North Carolina plays Notre Dame this upcoming Saturday, so we'll find out how good or bad they actually are when they play the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Any thoughts on the games from yesterday? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. My biggest talent is always being able to tell what's inside a wrapped present. It's a gift. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.